Hey guys, we're back on today, and hopefully we're going to do a great show today. I mean, I'm not sure what the questions are going to be, but I think I'm ready as spaghetti. So I got my Sicilian shirt on, so you know I'm Sicilian. So let's go, Anna.
Sammy, happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
How are you feeling today?
I'm feeling pretty good. I've had this cold for about 2.5 weeks, as you know. I think I'm starting to finally get rid of it. I never had a cold that lasted this long, but all the shit that's flying around, so I don't know what it is. I try to stay, within my boundaries with everything, but I think I'm starting to get rid of it now.
A lot of your viewers better in recovery.
Same to you guys. I appreciate that a lot.
We're going to start in the super chat with Billy Ryan. Hi, Sammy. Could you please speak on yours and John's involvement in the Patriarchal War? I read that you and John ordered.
The Patriarchal War, it came to us that the guy Junior, who was the consigliere of the family, and he was out of Boston. Most of the heavyweights were in Boston, the captains and stuff like that. And they were plotting to take over the family. Raymond Patriarchal, his father, was the guy who started it, and he was a great boss. Everybody loved him. And then he died, and his son took over, Raymond Patriarchal Jr. And he really wasn't doing the right thing. There was a lot of things that he got screwed up. And they were getting tired of him, and they were going to kill him and take him out. It came to us through someone, and there was a wedding or something that was up there. And me, John, Frankie LaCasio, and somebody else went there to go to that wedding and to talk to them. Now, there was a room that was set on the side where the bride would get dressed. She wasn't in there. So we used that room. We sat down with them, and we asked what was going on. And rumors that there was a war breaking out, and you guys were going to kill him. And they brought up a whole bunch of issues that he wasn't handling himself right as a boss. And he was neglecting the Boston area. He came out of a small town, Providence, and he married a woman. People in Providence knew her, and they didn't want him married to that woman. I don't want to get into the story about her. She's probably an old woman right now. She has grandchildren, so I'm going to avoid her story or whatever it was. I'm not going to talk about it. But that was one of the issues, and we thought it was ridiculous. The guy's got a right to marry anybody he wants, but they didn't want this to happen. And so we talked with them, and we told them, give us the opportunity to talk to him so that he could step down as being the boss. Go on with his marriage, leave, and you guys take over. So we asked for that in a pretty forceful way. Not me so much, but John was pretty forceful with this. I got to give him credit for it. He was very strong about it. In other words, if they didn't listen, they might expect retaliation from us. And we were the people from the commission in New York, and they didn't have a commission seat at that time. So they promised that they wouldn't kill him, and we had the opportunity to talk to him. So a meeting was set up. I wasn't at that meeting. John was there with Frankie LaCasio. I was sent on doing other things, but they went on the meeting, and John talked to me about it. And when we met after the meeting, and he told me, he said, Sammy, I told him, you have to step down. You have to have, there's issues. Junior and them are going to take it over. They're going to kill you. They have the power of the family, the entire family behind them. You can't win. You have one option: to step down, leave, and enjoy your life. And we'll protect you under this deal that we made. If you don't, then we are going to step aside. We can't save you. We can't protect you. They'll kill you. Simple as that. So the war was on hold. I guess he took a little bit to think about it, and he stepped down. I believe he left Providence and left with his wife and whatever. I don't know where he went, or he stayed in Providence. I'm not 100% sure whether he stayed or left, but he was supposed to leave. I think he did leave. He never got killed. The war was over. I don't believe Junior took over because there was a federal indictment. I think he was on it, other guys were on it, and it had nothing to do with this hit. But that's our participation in this meeting, that we resolved this without bloodshed. And really, I mean, I don't think there would have been much bloodshed except for his, because they really did have the power. Junior was a tough guy. He was the consigliere of the family. They had legitimate arguments that we couldn't, do anything about. And this is something towards nepotism. He put his son in a place that he didn't belong. He was a great boss, Raymond Petrarca Sr., ran it great. People loved him, never a problem. He put his son in, and he didn't run it the same way. And he made a lot of mistakes. I'm not going to get into every one of them, but a lot of mistakes. A little greedy, a little selfish. He fell in love with this woman, and it deterred him from doing a lot of things and functions and stuff that should be number one. You got to remember, in our life, when you take the original oath as a member, this thing of ours comes before God, country, family, everything. Now, it's ridiculous to say that we do drop everything. We don't. I love my family. I don't put nothing above my family. But it's an expression how important it is. And the higher you get in your position, the more important it is, especially when you're a boss. You have responsibilities for the family. You're the father of that family. When you drop your responsibilities and you think about yourself and in a lot of different ways, whether it's money, whether it's respect, a whole bunch of ways, you don't fit. So this is what happens with somebody who doesn't earn their way to the top. And that's what nepotism is all about. You're going to make a big mistake. So anyway, end of story. He lived. That's what we did. The first time we met there, I think there was 5 or 6 guys. Only 3 or 4 of us were in the meeting, but I think we went up with 6 guys more. I think about it. We met before the wedding, and then we went to the wedding and met in that room. I don't believe we went into the actual wedding. I think we went into the back room before the ceremonies and all that stuff, and we had these conversations. So that's the story of the Patriarcha War and our involvement. So I hope you understand that.
Nice. Thank you, Sammy. Amy McMillan in the super chat. Hey, Sammy, hope all is well. Why do so many mafia wives and girlfriends get whacked so brutally? Thanks in advance and happy spring.
Who gets whacked?
The mafia girlfriends and the wives. I mean, I've never...
I never heard of, it's not. I really can't say I never heard of a mafia girlfriend get whacked. I mean, but it's very, very rare that we whack women. A wife, I mean, I don't think I've heard of a wife getting whacked. I did hear of a Gumana get whacked. It was in the Colombo family. She was a beautiful, beautiful girl. She was Ali Boy Persico Sr.'s girlfriend. And Ali Boy Persico Sr. was on the lam. The FBI knew she was the Gumana. They went and grabbed her and talked with her. She didn't know nothing. She didn't say nothing. But she went to tell her girlfriends that the FBI agent was gorgeous and was flirting with her. And I guess they took it the wrong way, thinking that she wanted to go out with him or she was pleased with him. It came out distorted, I guess. And a contract was given to Greg Scapa Sr., who called her in to a meeting. He knew her personally, and he killed her. The worst thing they did with her, they put her in a garbage dumpster, her legs sticking up in the air, after they killed her, and said she was an informant. She wasn't an informant. And it was a disgusting fucking thing to do. I don't think anybody liked it. I knew this girl. I didn't know her person. I knew her. I met her. I saw her. She could have been a movie actress. She was that beautiful. And she was a nice person. I was sick when I heard that story. And till today, I can't stand that story. But other than her, I really can't see too many women. I don't know of any that I could think of off the top of my head. Probably one or two might have, but I don't know of any. That's not something we do. We don't kill women. We don't kill children. And we don't kill innocent men for no reason. There has to be a reason that a legitimate guy gets hit. And if there's not a legitimate reason, we start to question ourselves and what we're doing. So I don't know of women who got whacked. I mean, I've heard a few stories. I don't believe some of them. But I don't know of any personally. We just don't do that.
Thank you, Sammy. Slick Rick 757 in the chat. Did you ever deal with Carmine Gigante, and did you know he was going to get hit?
Carmine Galante. I didn't know him personally. I went to a club with the old man Peruta on Bath Avenue. There was a captain there, pretty notorious guy, Sonny Red. And when we walked in, this Carmine Galante was there. He had just gotten out of prison, and he was mounting off to Sonny. He claimed himself as being the boss, that he took over, and that he wanted an envelope every week. Sonny Red was very quiet about it, told him, okay, Carmine, calm down. I'll have an envelope there every week. Now, I remember telling the old man Peruta, wow, I never seen Sonny Red, anybody talk to him like that way, so calm. Peruta had turned around and told me, Sammy, I'll guarantee you this guy will be dead no time flat. Sonny would have barked back at him. He's being quiet because his wheels are turning already. Carmine Galante was a tough guy. I know stories about him when he played ball in prison with younger guys, handball. He would play ball. Guys would wait to play winners, one after the other. And he would play. And he would lose. He would tell the guy, go back into the unit, and he would say, next. He lost. He's not supposed to do that. But he did that to people, and he got away with it. Guys knew him. They respected him. They liked him. And he was a super tough guy to do that. Some guys, it actually wound up in an argument. The guy never backed up an inch. He was an older guy. So he's a real tough guy. I saw him on Bath Avenue a few times. But he proclaimed himself as being the new boss now that he was out of prison. It was almost like the handball. He didn't care about nothing. He took a trip to Canada. They had started the Canadian crew. People think it's a family up there. How it started was he put a crew, a captain and a crew in Canada. It was easy to smuggle drugs from France because a lot of people in Canada are French. The drugs would go from Italy to France very easily, from France into Canada pretty easy because they were all French. It was an easy connect. And then from Canada, smuggled into the United States. During Prohibition, they did that too. They smuggled in booze from Canada right through the water, right into the United States. So he had a long history of being, a super tough guy, bad dude. And I don't mean bad in a bad way, you're a real tough guy. And eventually, they talked to 3-4 captains, and the people from Canada, that captain from there that they talk about, Rizzuto, whatever his name was, and Joe Messina, and they all were put together to make the hit. The families agreed on it. He was completely out of order, what he was doing. His nephews were part of his security as bodyguards. They were told. They disappeared that day on purpose. The hit guys went into a restaurant he was in and mowed him down. There's that famous picture in the back of the restaurant. He's laying on the floor, cigar chopped into his mouth. He probably saw it coming, tightened up, and he bit on that cigar as he's getting hit, and it stuck in his mouth. So I did not know him personally. I knew of him. Peruta was a little older than me. And we weren't made. I wasn't made then at this meeting, but Peruta was friends with me. And I believe I wasn't made at that time. But anyway, Peruta knew of him more than I did. And Peruta told me stories about him, and I, and told me, he says, Sammy, he's on the death wish, things he's doing. You can't proclaim. Yeah, I know, I get it. But he's doing it. And those are the guys who hit him. Sonny Red, his son, all of these guys were part of the plot to take him out. And then later, they got killed. So that's the way this whole thing came down.
It's the way the cookie crumbles, Sammy?
It's the way the cookie crumbles in the mafia.
Moses Martinez in the Super Chat. Would you or have you been back to the old neighborhood, Bensonhurst, or New York City?
No. There's a couple of reasons. I'll give them to you. One reason is I have family and friends there. And they tell me, Sammy, you would hate it here now. It's not like it used to be. It's a disgrace. I mean, the city is falling apart. All kinds of bullshit happen. My daughter tells me the same thing. She's there with my granddaughter. So I really wouldn't like it. And I walked away from the life I cooperated. I don't want to put pressure on people. And the third reason is that I'm on parole and I'm not allowed to go to New York. Now, when I asked my parole officer, why am I not allowed? I'm allowed to go to California. I'm allowed to go to Florida, other states. Why can't I go to New York? I got family there. My parole officer said, Sammy, there's some knucklehead in Washington. They have a lot of people who are confidential informants and bugs in these clubs. You seem to be really well liked still. And they're afraid if you go there and know that, you'll try to take over again. I said, that's crazy. She says, I know it's crazy, but somebody in Washington thinks that way, and you're not allowed. So I'm on parole. I'm not allowed to go there. If I go, I violate my parole. I'll be back in jail in 2 minutes. So, and I have no intentions of taking over. But, I'm just not allowed. And from what I hear from family and friends, I really wouldn't be comfortable there. I wouldn't like it.
I think there's a lot of knuckleheads in Washington right now. I mean, you know.
Washington is full of knuckleheads.
Betty Ann Tavano back in your super chat with a beautiful envelope for you, Sammy. No question, no comment. Just her envelope and a lot of celebrations going on in that.
Some hugs and kisses in that.
My virgin ears.
All right, Betty. I love you. I do. I appreciate it, and I guess that's all I could say right now.
Ryan Brown in your super chat wants to know, Sammy, what is your opinion on guys bringing their sons into the life?
You know, that's not exactly nepotism. Some people fit. I'll give you a story. A lot of us don't want our son in the life for a couple of reasons. One, as soon as you get married, you got a target on your back from the FBI and law enforcement. Number one. Number two, you're going to kill or be killed. Number three, you're going to go to prison, more than likely. So why would you want your son in there? We want our sons to go to school, go to college, get a good job, join the military, have a career. Why would you want to bring your son into this life? Now, Frankie the Chico got made. His father, Boozy, was with Tato and that crew with me. And I asked Boozy, how come you made your son? He said Frankie was a fucking Indian, running around, tough as can be. The only way I could control him and make him do the right thing was to make him. So without being in the life, I think he'd get in more trouble. So he brought him into the life to protect him, and I understood that. So if your son is that type of a kid, and he belongs in the life, then bring him in. But if he's not that type of a kid, then you're making a mistake. Like John Gotti brought his son in. The kid went to military school. He should have let him go into the military. His brother, Pete Gotti, was a garbage guy. He hung out. He made him, wound up being the captain, then the boss, which is fucking ridiculous. He just wasn't meant for the life. And again, that's nepotism. And sooner or later, Peter Gotti made every wrong move under the sun and went to prison. And he's going to probably die in prison. I think he's still alive. I'm not sure. One eye popped out. He looks like Igor's mother. But, that's not the reason why you can't make him. I mean, there's a lot of ugly guys in the mafia.
He has one eye or like a glass eye?
Well, one of them popped out or something. He used to hang, or then he got a glass eye. So when he was talking to you, you're always looking behind. Who is he talking to? He's talking to me? You're talking to me? I look around. I'm the only one there, so I guess you're talking to me. So.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Elgato in your super chat, Sammy, tell us a story about gas pipe. Do you have any funny stories about gas pipe?
Funny stories about gas pipe. Yeah, if gas pipe was a complete fucking lunatic. Funny stories. Yeah, I have a small funny one. There was an argument. Now, they wouldn't talk to John. John couldn't get nothing done with gas pipe and Vic, the boss. I grew up with gas pipe. So he said, he used to get mad as a bass. Sammy, go straighten this out with your friend. I was an underboss and he was an underboss at that particular time, gas pipe. And I said, what do you want me to straighten out? He said, I have a person, a legitimate guy, lives in a house, and the fence between him and his neighbor is a little bit on one side or the other side, and they're arguing and fighting, and I try to send a message to straighten it out. The people didn't want to know, and the other side is saying that they know gas pipe. So straighten it out. So I went to gas pipe, and I told gas pipe, I said, listen, we got to straighten this thing out. John knows that guy. Gas pipe, he was fucking crazy. I don't give a fuck what John likes or don't like, bro. That fucking fence is on my friend's property. By 2-3 feet, I think it was. It was a fucking small thing. They got big backyards. What's the difference? So we talked and talked and talked and talked, and he was making fucking jokes about it. And I said, come on, let's get serious, bro. Look what this is. This thing is up to a level that 2 underbosses, 2 families are in a sit-down over this fucking fence. He says, I told you I'm not doing it. I said, listen, I got a way to do it. How? I said, we have construction people, both sides. We'll get somebody, rip the fucking fence down, put it exactly where it belongs. It'll cost us maybe $1,500. We'll chip in, me and you, and straighten it out. Just me and you. So there's no problems with the people. Everybody walks away happy. He says, I got a better way. How? I'll send a couple of guys. We killed the people in the other house. I said, get the fuck out of here. I said, here now we're talking about a murder. But over a fence, bro, we're talking. Come on. It's $750 a piece. If you don't want to do that, I'll pay the whole $1,500. He says, all right, well, send whoever you want. We'll pay $750 a piece. We'll get it done. And we got it done. So that was funny. As a fucking lunatic to try to talk to and deal with and shit like that. But sometimes we had, fun jerking around with stories and whatever.
Nice. Tony Ferguson in your super chat. Sammy, you are a legend, and I wish you health and happiness. Love from Morocco.
Wow. I would love to go to Morocco. I as a kid growing up, I saw pictures about Morocco. It's really a beautiful, beautiful country. It's gorgeous. I mean, you're right on the ocean like that. I wish I always wanted to go there. I mean, I would love to go there. I can't, but I'm on parole. I always wanted to go there. I wanted to go to Sicily on vacation, and I would have loved to go there. So it's a pleasure to know you and know you're there. And if you ever want to send me pictures from it, I just ask my team for our address and send some pictures. And I tell all the Moroccan people I love them, and I would love to be there. They're great people. They have a beautiful country, and they're beautiful people.
Thank you, Sammy. Amina just let us know that your viewers in your chat right now are from Sweden, Denmark, Russia, Australia, Ukraine, Ireland, Montreal, Serbia, Scotland. In the States, we have Virginia, California, everywhere, East Coast, West Coast, and everything in between.
Wow. That's a lot of countries. Sweden is another country that I always was obsessed with, those beautiful women in Sweden. My God. I mean, you don't let them loose, right? And once in a while you get a Swedish woman who moves out of there. They probably have handcuffs. They can't leave. But great. Listen, I love talking to people all around the world. And, someday I'm working on movies and trying to get a movie out and done, and I'm working on it relentlessly. It would help me if you turn around and press like or press subscribe on my YouTube or any of the channels and come to our new website that we're working on. It's going to open up. It gives me clout with these Hollywood people to put pressure on them to get this done or that done. It gives me a little more clout. And I love all you guys, especially overseas. I mean, I know the world, this new world order I read about, I hope it's not touching you people. I know in the United States, it's a fucking nightmare. I can't even watch the news anymore. So many problems. It's these fucking politicians. It's never enough for them. They always got to take. No matter how much they break us, how much the lower class, the middle class, the upper middle class, how much do you want? Let people live. We all have a short lifespan. You got $1 billion. Why do you want more? You can't even spend it in your lifetime. What are you going to do with it? Put it in the bank? Brag about it? I mean, let other people live. You could earn. You're the big shots. Go ahead. But let other people survive and live. It's disgusting. The border's open. I mean, we have drugs coming in all over the place. I hope you guys in all those countries don't have that issue and problem. Because I really do sympathize with all of these things, especially knowing I got so many people in so many different countries. I appreciate it so much, and that you're here listening to this. And I love it.
Sammy, in your super chat, love life. Hey Sammy, hope you feel better soon. Got a movie suggested if you're interested. The Shawshank Redemption. I don't want to spoil it for you, but it goes over prison reform you want to help with.
I know. I saw the movie Shawshank Redemption. It was a great movie. I love that guy. Who's the black guy who plays it there?
Morgan Freeman.
Morgan Freeman. I love him. I see him in everything. I like him as an actor. I loved him in that movie. He was really. I love his voice, the way when he talks and everything. Yeah, but I'm interested in prison reform. I'm talking to a lot of people now. Every day I'm talking to more and more people. In the very near future, I don't know if I'm supposed to say this, but I'm going to do an interview with the warden of the ADX Supermax, Bob Hood. Great guy. I mean, I was in his prison. He was a fair guy, a good guy, and he talked to me about prison reform. The conversation, he sent me a beautiful letter, and I'm going to talk to him about prison reform. He's even interested in prison reform. He ran the toughest prison in the country, and he's a very humane guy. It sickens him how harsh the prison was. So I'm going to do an interview with him. I think it's going to be a great interview, and I'm telling you, I knew him from the prison as the warden, but he was fair, open, and honest, and he really tried to give you as much, freedom as he could give you. But, he's under restrictions. He's got to run it how they want him to run it. But now he'll be talking about it openly with me. And I think it's going to be a great, great interview. I think he's a great guy. So it's going to be great unless I fuck it up. I doubt it.
It's going to be great. It's going to be on your website. Probably come out in the summertime?
Yes, in the summertime, sometime on our new website. Our new website is opening up this very next month in March. And I don't know exactly what day. March 12th is my birthday. I'll be 78. You're supposed to be like a girl. Don't want to tell you her age, how much she weighs. I guess I should stop telling you how old I am. But I'll be 78. So in this month sometime, it'll be my birthday. We'll have the grand opening of the new website. I think it's going to be great. We're working on new content all the time. This will be on there and a lot of different ones. Somebody brought up in my team about doing a nighttime story. Now, this nighttime story, I said, what the hell is that? They said, what you're going to do is talk at night, late, and you're going to tell the story of New York, how it started, and you go through it every week more and more until present date, and people could listen to this because they think your voice is pleasant. I think I got a harsh voice, but one of my followers said they have a dog that's half nuts. But when they're listening to my video, the dog lays there listening to it very relaxed. I think my voice puts dogs to sleep. But if it puts dogs to sleep, I'll start with this show. I'm stuttering. I'll start with this show, and if you guys like it, it'll be out at night, right before you go to bed, a little bit before or after you have sex. I don't know. But I don't know when the fuck I'll put it out, but I'm going to put it out.
Sammy Scott Cardinal is actually in your chats right now, hyping up to do all the YouTube-y things, like, subscribe, hyping you up big time.
Great. I appreciate it, bro. I really do.
Sammy, to piggyback on Warden Hood and the ADX and your fireside chat that just came out was just fire. A lot of good feedback about the moth story. And I'd like to read you a comment from Brandon. He said, loneliness is the worst psychological pain you could ever put another human being through. And then another one of your viewers commented right after that and said, there have been many studies about normal people actually being driven insane by loneliness. They start talking to themselves, telling jokes to themselves, and laughing by themselves. Then they actually make up friends and start talking to them. It is truly disturbing.
It is. It is. You know, I just got a text, it's crazy, this morning from a good friend of mine, a female, who said, did you actually make friends with a moth? And I laughed and I texted back to her and I said, I did. I was so fucking lonely in there. And it was weird. This moth had no fear of me for some reason. And I had wool blankets and he would walk up the blanket and I would put my hand, figuring he would run away, fly away. But he would climb right on my hand. I'd put my hand on my chest. And then he'd climb up. I'd feel him on my neck, climb him right on my face. And it was the most amazing thing how I was so lonely that I fell in love with this moth that it occupied my mind. Even when I took a shower, you took a shower in the room, in a booth. I made sure that he wasn't on the wall in there before I turned the water on, because the water would hurt him or kill him. They were alive for a while, and then they just completely disappear. When I talked to Warden Hood, he remembers that, and he never could understand why they must come out, lay their eggs, whatever they do, and then they're gone. And then the next year is another season, they come up again. So it was an amazing thing. Loneliness is unbearable. I don't say I could take any pain more than I took 6.5 years in the hole. I don't know how I took it. A lot of people ask me how, but I was so lonely, and I was starving for attention. I actually grabbed a nurse's, when she put her hands near the bars, I grabbed her finger. I didn't mean to hurt her. I didn't mean to do anything. I just held her. I didn't want her to leave. I wanted her to talk to me more. She was cool. She said, Sammy, there's 100 cameras in here. If they see you holding me against my will, they'll come in here, they'll bust you up so bad. Please let go. And I let go. I said, she said, I understand it. What they're putting you through is horrible. Do push-ups, do sit-ups, do breathing exercises. I'll be back. I'll talk to you on occasion. Every time I could stop here, I will. And she left. I mean, and I did a video on the ADX. It was just, I don't even know how I survived it. But part of it was, I used to call it the ADX strut. I used to walk all the way around myself from one end to the other, back and forth, talking to myself, saying, Sammy, they want to break you, bro. They want you to break. Fuck them. Don't break. And I would talk like that to myself over and over again, or I would talk about something. I started to want to stop thinking about my wife, my children. I wanted to forget about the outside world. It made it worse for me. That hunger to be them, to see them, to touch them. I wanted to break from that. All I wanted to think about is prison. In this cell. I didn't want to think about anything. That's the only way I would be able to keep my sanity for so long of a period. I would just do stupid things like that. Look through this crack and look at the yard, who's in the yard or what's going on. So loneliness and I did. You know, every time they bum rush a cell, somebody loses their mind in there. So what they do is they line up, all covered, shields, football helmet, gloves. You can't hurt them. You can't do nothing. And 4, 5, 6 of them. But before they open the door and bum rush you come in, they throw a stun grenade. So you would hear this boom go off. You knew they were bum rushing somebody. And occasionally I would ask the guard, what happened? No, the guy just lost his mom. We had to go in. We dragged him out. Because when you go in, when the guy lost his mind, he's going to start fighting. You can't overpower 6 guys and their bats and they're knocking you down. You can't win. There's nothing you can do. But guys just lose it. It's not impossible, and I've seen it hundreds of times. Some guys commit suicide. Even it's hard to commit suicide in the ADX because everything is bolted down. There's nothing you can grab. There's nothing you can use or do. And then there's cameras all over the friggin' place, so it's really hard. So.
Well, Gordon Hood mentioned that they try to commit suicide by starving themselves, and that's why he was so wrapped up doing involuntary feedings that, you know, he wished he would have talked to you more, but
Right.
he had to put out all those fires.
Right. Well, now that he's retired, now I'm out, and I'm doing prison reform. If he hears me, I'm so glad that he's a man's man to come forward and talk to me. I appreciate it. We were able to talk about all of these things that happened there, you know, his version, my version, and we put it on the table. But he's a good, honest man, and I'm sure he'll talk that it's overdone. You know, you do a crime, you should go to prison, but there's a limit. We're worried about so many things. There's a limit what we want to do to somebody. How inhumane are we content sitting home knowing people are being tortured? And I don't mean tortured in the sense that we know tortured. Tortured that you're in this place with nothing, with nobody. Hour after hour, after day, after week, after month, after year. It's insane. Try it. Try to sit in your bedroom for a week. You'll wind up going crazy. You got to get out. You want to watch television. You want to go eat. You want to do something. And everybody can bring you stuff to your room. It's incredible to do. So loneliness, I agree. I've had it, my hand in it. I've dealt with it. It's insane. It's insane. I would have rather get beat up once a week and do time with 100 guys than do that what I was going through.
I think we saw like a tiny, minute fraction of that during the lockdowns. And they were in their homes and whatever they wanted was there.
Right.
And they were losing their mind.
You got a dog, you got your kids, you got your husband, you got your wife. You can go out, buy the food, come in, and and that drove people crazy. Imagine that you can't do any of those things and you're locked down. And you're doing that almost on your own will. This is against your will. So I think it just makes it a lot harder. I'm going to take a sip.
Sammy, we have Eddie in your super chat. If you had one chance to go back in time to change only 3 things that happened throughout your life or La Cosa Nostra, what would they be?
3 things. Wow. There's a girl named Susie, blonde-haired, blue-eyed, drop-dead gorgeous, and I said no. I said fucking no. I would change that. I wouldn't be saying no.
Say which 3 times?
I can't get it out of my head. But Susie, I don't know why I said no. But a couple other things. I mean, there's certain things in the mafia I would change without a doubt. But there's certain things, I'm not that evil of a person. It may sound like a hypocrite saying that, but I had no control over changing. I couldn't change certain things. In the mafia, it is what it is. When you get an order to kill, you have to. I'm not crazy about that. I don't like it. I'm a hit guy. I'm very good at it. And I don't know how I became like that, but I did. I think part of my thing was Tato was a mentor saying you could think. You're a thinker. Now, the most dangerous guy is not a guy who pulls the trigger. You see some idiots, they go in a bodega and they shoot a guy. Guy gave him the money. You went in to rob $200 and you're shooting the guy. He gave you the money. It's thinking how you can do this crime, how do you get away with it. That guy, the thinker, is more dangerous, much more dangerous than the guy who can pull the trigger. Anybody can pull the trigger. If you're a hit guy, you pull the trigger once, 10 times, 50 times. But it does a lot of damage to families and things like that. There's certainly things in Cosa Nostra I would probably change or want to change. They had good rules. Some things were evil. The evil shit I would try my best to change. But like I say, I'm being honest. I don't know what I could have changed because I wasn't the boss. I disagreed with some things. I would disagree with it again. But what can I do if I'm not the boss and the boss tells me to do something? Could I say I would change that? How? How would I change it? I don't know. Maybe I would have left the life before I left the life. I left the life when I got betrayed. I trusted John Gotti. I felt we were attached at the hip. I did everything for him. I loved him. I got a little bit of a vibe before I went in prison, and my vibe came true. He did betray me. I should have killed him in the street. If I went back now, I would have killed him before we went into prison. But, you know, these are horrible things. I don't even want to talk about these things. And you know, the women I loved, whether they were girlfriends before I got married or when I got married, I don't think I would change any of that. You know, and love is a crazy thing because, you know, I had a childhood girlfriend, Lorraine Pye. Childhood relationships, you grow up and who, you know, you haven't moved around, you haven't met people, they break up. It's hard to keep a childhood relationship. Then I went out with a girl named Louise. I loved the shit out of her, I really did. And I think vice versa, we had a great, but we broke up as well. And then I met Deborah, my wife, and I loved her, and I love her till today. And to be honest with you, I love all three of them. Because I didn't leave in a bad way with Lorraine or Louise or my wife, who was my ex-wife. I love all of them for different reasons, and I'm friends with all of them. My wife, I'm very close with. We have children together. We have grandchildren together. We respect one another. We didn't have a vicious breakup. Matter of fact, I didn't have a vicious breakup with either one of the girls either. With no one. I never had a vicious breakup with a girl, with a woman. And so I don't know. I don't think I would change any of those things. So I really don't know. It's a tough question. It's a good question because you got me stumped a little bit. Who was it? Little bastard.
Where's your super chat?
All right. You got me, bro. You got me stuck on that one.
What's the advice that you would give men in these new generations coming up to get through a breakup, get through losing somebody they love dearly and they're trying to move on? What advice would you give them?
Well, if you love her dearly and it didn't work out, sometimes you could love somebody, both parties, and not get along in marriage. There's a lot of difficulties, and you break up. That don't mean you have to hate her or treat her badly, especially if you have children with her. There's a bond there. You can break up and be friends. Listen, my wife, every time when I was in prison, after we were divorced, she did things to help me. I've talked with my ex-girlfriends on different times and good relationship. There's no reason to hate one another. You respect one another. The marriage didn't work, and you go on. If you truly love her, you would say, I hope she meets somebody that she can really love and get along with and have a great fucking life and be my friend. That's somebody who really loves somebody. Now, if you have a vicious one because of whatever reasons, that's an individual case for everybody. I don't know. I'd have to think of or talk about or listen to the situation. But if you break up with your wife or husband, break up in a good way. It didn't work. It's not the end of the world. Sometimes these things don't work for whatever reason. So before you hate each other, break up, respect one another, and stay friends. You could always be in one another's friendship, relationship. I'll go about my ex-girlfriend, Lorraine. I haven't talked to her in 100 years. so to speak. If she called me tomorrow and had a problem and asked me for help, I would help her tomorrow morning, if I could. I wouldn't go back. I wouldn't do anything. We broke up, but I would help her. I don't have bad thoughts or bad situation with her. And the same thing with Louise, or with my wife. It's my ex-wife now. I had said I would never marry again, and I wouldn't. I wouldn't because I wouldn't hurt my ex-wife's feelings that, but I would go out. She would expect, we're not together. I could go out. She could go out. And if she went out, she's an older woman now and she's sick. She's got COPD. And I care for her and I take care of her. And I will till the day she dies. That's true love. You don't have to be married. You don't have to be having sex. You don't need anything. Love is beyond that. Love is your feeling towards that human being. Aside from sex, aside from everything else, you love her as a person, as a human being. She may be a good person who takes care of the children, who takes care of herself. If you're sick, she'll take care of you. So that's in a breakup. That's what you do. If you can have fear, you can't tell me you loved her and now all of a sudden you hate her just because she did something wrong. Well, I'm sure you did something wrong at one point in your life or your marriage. Don't hate. Hate is real easy to do. Actually, love is even easier. It makes you feel better to do something good. Hatefulness, that's what you become. A hateful person. You hate people who are successful. You hate your ex-wife. You hate the car. You hate the cops. You hate every fucking body. And that's how you start to live. You become a hateful person. Listen, I go out of my fucking way when I go to the gym or anywhere. When I open the door, I'm always looking behind me because I always want to hold the door open for a guy, a woman, I don't care who it is or what it is. To be courteous and be a little kind is a good thing. It'll make you feel better. I feel better. I feel better when I did it today. I went to the gym today. I feel better that the woman just, thank you so much. It's 1 second out of your life. Why not just open the door? It may slam in her face or wait 1 more minute and keep it open. Watch what she says to you. Watch this smile. It's contagious. It helps you. It helps me. I don't really care what she thinks of me. But when I walk and I look in the mirror, I want to say, you really are a decent person. I want to feel that about myself. If I can't feel that about myself, then I'll be a fucking out-and-out derelict, not only to myself, to everybody around me. And I really don't want to be that. Now, I could be a lion, and I could do some ugly shit, but I don't make that dominate me. I really don't. I sit on this to talk to you guys live because I love yous. I'm a people's person. You have no idea what your remarks, your statements do for me. And I love it. And when I say I love you, not because you give me some money or anything like that, it's your remarks, what you want to do, how you want to help me. And it's a beautiful thing. And it makes me a better person. Makes me feel better about myself. And when I feel good, I'm not greedy. I want to pour that out to other people. I hear somebody has a problem. I'm there. If I can help, I help. If I can't, I can't. I mean, and I'm affiliated with people, my crew, people that died, their kids call me. My friend Joe Vitale, his son, Joe Vitale Jr., he's out there, he's a man, he's a tough guy, he's a good guy, he's beautiful, and I hear from him. You know how that makes me feel? I grew up with Joe Vitale. We were shot together. He passed away. I see his son put up something, happy birthday, Da, and I write away, happy birthday, Joe. And then he texts me back. It's beautiful. That's beauty. That's love is a beautiful thing. One more story. I had a friend of mine dying of cancer. A lot of pain. And I went to see him. How you feeling, bro? Good. And I know he was suffering. Listen, bro, you want me to get the doctor? I'll get him to give you some more painkiller. It's getting close. He said, no, I'm all right. And I said, why are you smiling, bro? I know you're in pain. He said, Sammy, fuck the pain. You know what I'm thinking? What? I'm thinking of my mother. I'm thinking of my father. I'm thinking of positive things and people I've missed. And I may be able to see them again. Love conquered the fucking pain he was in. He didn't even need a pill. And he's smiling. I never forgot that. So love is an important thing. And I'm not just love sex, but I'm talking about really loving people, for what you do. I got some of my staff. I would, sometimes they work so hard, and I see their, I would love to actually hold them and hug them. Because I love them. I love what they're doing. They're putting their heart and soul in. I don't know how to repay that. Not just a bigger salary or something. I love to give them a hug. A little pat on the ass maybe. But I can't do that. The HR people would hang me. So that's about it. I don't even know what the question was. I went into a tirade.
It's all good. That was amazing. You got a lot of good feedback about how to handle breakups. And Betty Ann Tavano is back in your super chat with lots of hearts, lots of loves, and some extra hearts for the moth story. I'm in fucking tears again. Her envelope to you, Sammy.
I love you, Betty. I mean, I really do. Someday, hopefully, we can chat and maybe have a cup of coffee and talk. I'd love it. You're a good woman.
Minx 1986 in your super chat. Thanks for being you. Just wanted to give you a shout out.
Thank you so much.
We got about a couple minutes left, Sammy. Anything you want to tell your viewers?
Yes, what I started off with, if you like this, press like on whatever you watch me on YouTube or whatever it is, and subscribe. It gives me strength in Hollywood when I'm talking to these people. Secondly, we're opening up this new website. We're going to be on Wix. It gives us much better, easier to navigate, easier to do all kinds of things. It's a great company. We're having great conversations with them. Melissa is working on the whole front of it, the face of it, putting, I'll give you an example. Saturday I work 3 hours, and Sunday I work with 3 hours with one of the people who work with me, Emily from California, and putting together my whole childhood, how I went to school, where I went to school, all these facts. And then another couple of hours we worked on my crew and giving you a description of them and what they've done, short little version, and we send it over to Melissa this morning. And we got to get some other things. A lot of times I don't remember how old the guy was when he was born. Looking for some of those facts is hard. Some guys don't have a big history. I found out some more stuff about Tato that I didn't even know. So this is all going to be on the new website. It's going to be easy to navigate. They have a team now that's going to make sure if there's a problem, they'll fix it, boom, right away. I didn't have that before. Sometimes you guys had a problem of getting on or off, and we didn't know how to fix that. I'm not a tech guy. Now we have a tech company that's going to back us with that, and they'll take care of that within minutes. So it's costing me, some money, but it's well worth it so I can service everything. And we're working on all different kinds of situations. we're reaching out. So I love you guys, and I can't say it enough. I appreciate everything you're doing for me, and I'm gonna keep doing this every Monday, and we also have that other chat. What is that?
Patreon?
No, the other
Fireside chat?
fireside chat. When is that? Fridays.
Friday. Every Friday.
Every Friday, the fireside chat. We're going to do that, and a lot of these other things we're working on that I think you're going to love.
Can we read a couple more super chats, Sam?
Yeah, sure.
Bam Bam with his envelope. Thanks for being a good role model on how to get back up after bad times in life. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have a comment from, one second, let me find. Ryan Brown in the super chat. Sammy, I agree with everything you just said. My parents didn't have the perfect marriage, but when she passed away 2 years ago in May, it really tore him up.
Right. And that's a beautiful thing. I mean, not that he got torn up, but that he cared. He cared that much. So sometimes it don't work out, but that doesn't mean you can't still like or love that person.
PK is saying, Sammy, stop the baloney. Laugh out loud. Don't kill me. Love you, Sammy. Stop the baloney.
I heard that statement said once before. It's a lot of baloney. I think I know where you're going with that. So I'll tell you, it's a lot of baloney.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sammy. Great live.
Appreciate you guys. Is that it?
We're gonna yeah.
All right. So my normal adios, and you know I say this with love. Adios, motherfuckers.